In Canada, people, I think they don't mind the thick accent because really here, so many people so
India.
from India. I mean, so many people from so many different places. So at some point, like, just I mean,
Yeah, it doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, you have so many cultures. Yeah, that they're mixed so much.
yeah, and like as I said, what I like about Canada because there is no like such a thing as nationality. At least I don't feel it like anywhere else, and
Hmm.
this is a good thing. I don't know, at least for me. Mm, okay, to shape this discussion about
I hear you a
kind of
little bit. Can you talk a little bit louder? A little bit. Yeah, just a little bit.
to shape this discussion about
Oh, perfect.
about Pythagoras. Yeah, I want to discuss the ideas which shaped his personality, and the
Hmm.
he is widely known for his mathematical genius, but what is not known, at least isn't like known for me. So I speak about myself. So what is not known that he is known as a godfather of sound medicine in the West. Because like other cultures like Indian, for example, or like shamanic traditions, they are older, and this concept exists before than in Europe. But in Europe, at least as I know, many authors and books which I read, they attribute these ideas like to Pythagoras because we know the story that he was like the first person, who invented the musical scales. Yeah, so he made his experiments with the lyre, and so what he found, he uh, shortened string twice, and the frequency has doubled. And this was the discovery of the octave, yeah, of the musical interval. So then you shorten the length, the frequency doubles, yeah. And later on, he also noticed that the ratios which follow like whole number proportions, they are harmonical, and other ratios which are uh, don't follow this like simple integers. Yeah, let's say what we know from programming. Integer ratios, they are dissonant. I also prepared the picture. I will try to share my screen, and I think it would be because I think you understand what we are talking about, but it would be easier for anyone who watches to
Maybe show to everybody all your stuff on the computer.
yeah. uh, yeah, this one.
Yes. Yeah. So the fifth, the fourth, yes, the major six, exactly. Yeah, like octave. Hmm.
Just give me a sec. um, Anyhow, so you can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay, I will be not messing uh, with this, but can you if I make like this. Yeah, I think
Hmm.
it's better. So we are not seeing the desktop. So mm, if we divide the string into 12 equal parts and shorten the string to the point 6, 8, and 9, obtaining the proportions 12 by 6, which is 2 by 1, which is octave, 12
Yes.
by 8, which is 3, 3 second, yeah, which is another major musical interval, 4 divided by 3, and so on. So yeah, and from this point, the question which I really want to ask you, because you study this from another perspective, what it means to you, like these intervals.
But you want to start straight away from this, or we can talk about a little bit about his let's say from where what we know about him, from where he comes, and so on. Or you want to get straight away to the metal?
It's up to you. Yeah, I want to like
Uh-huh.
first because I want to speak about these ideas.
Yes.
So because for people, then it will be more interesting to speak about his biography.
Yes.
Because anyway, as you said, we don't know
We don't know so much, no.
so much, so we can keep this
Yeah.
to the end.
It's yeah, Pythagoras, it's in my opinion, it's one of the most mythical figures in the Western culture, and more mythical than Socrates, all other philosophers later on which came and actually who took a lot of from him, impregnated his ideas inside their theories, and in some way we can say that sometimes they say there are only two philosophers in Western culture. Yeah, you have Plato and you have Kant, Immanuel Kant. Yeah, but I
Hmm.
think all of them more or less they have some reference to Pythagoras, and many things start, yeah, from this name. We can say that he shaped, as you mentioned before, as you had mentioned before, there's mathematics, music, medicine, mysteries itself. But yeah, if you want to talk, let's start with the music. Uh,
Not necessarily the music, because
yeah.
you study mathematics, and for example,
Well, it's
what
uh-huh.
these ratios mean to you, like where you can find them in geometry or like architecture or whatever, in nature, in our world, like so.
Yeah, it's I mean, more or less, if you try to understand what the school of Pythagoras thought about the world, you have to start from the first principles. Let's call them this way. And
Hmm.
the first principle means that you had the monada. This is the thing which they believed it's like a perfect unity, from where everything starts, from all
Monada.
the monada. Yes.
Can
Later on,
you
this.
can you
Uh-huh.
type in the chat how it's written?
Yeah, where is chat?
I will
Mhm.
type
Yes, just type it. Yeah,
monada like
exactly.
this, or
Monada. Yeah.
yeah.
This term later on, it was used by many philosophers later on. It was used later on by Neoplatonics as well. But all of them, they took these ideals. Also, Plato itself used it a lot in his dialogues.
Hmm.
Then you also have this idea in Parmenides. This is one of the philosophers which is preceded a little bit.
So can you
Yeah,
explain maybe a little bit what is monada, because
yeah.
I don't remember honestly.
Well, it's difficult to explain what is monada because they didn't know what is this exactly. This is one of the first principles. I mean, you have to think about this like mm, let's call it like a big bang, but it's not a big bang. It's something like an axiom.
Oh.
From all the creation starts from the monada. It's a
Hmm.
perfect. We can call it. Um, it's definite. Yeah. First of all, it's
Hmm.
finite. It's has the perfect shape. It's like something. If you think about like definition of God, yeah, there is no definition of God. There is only
Yeah.
you can give it only by negation. Yeah, it means
Right.
it has no space. It has no it has no time. Yeah, it
Yeah.
has no
Exactly.
yeah. So you only can negate something, and then by negating, you can try to shape the
Yeah.
definition.
It's like DAO. You cannot name it. It's either
No,
it is and it is not.
yeah,
It's neither this and nor that. Right. So
exactly.
you
So
cannot give like ultimate position. What is it like X?
no, no, no. This is something beyond the grasp of the human mind.
Hmm.
And then at the same time, you have this, the indefinite. So you have a finite monada and you have something completely indefinite. This is like chaos. You can represent it
Mm-hmm.
in a way. And at one of the one of the like analogy you can make, it's like imagine you have genus, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Genus, it means like let's say tree, yeah. Tree is something like unity, yeah. And then from tree you can have let's say palm tree, you can have oak, you can have
Mm-hmm.
different kind of trees, yeah. These are species, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But there are multitude, innumerable multitude of these trees in the world, yeah, or like the
Yeah.
this like grains of sand, in the on the shore of the
Mm-hmm.
near this. So this is innumerable, yeah, you cannot numerate it.
Mm-hmm.
So this is two principles. When you have the first principle, this monada connecting together with this indefinite principle, you get the
Mm-hmm.
number. This is the
Interesting.
first thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And number you can think about as species.
Mm-hmm.
So later on, for example, also Plato used it a lot in his dialogue Philebo. He used it this kind of explanation. Actually, what I'm explaining now is more like a point of view of Plato, more shape, more widely explained, because of course Pythagoras, he has not left anything. Actually, he hasn't written almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any, his books or something. They say that maybe he wrote three books about soul, about government, and about um, I think something like physica, but I'm not sure, not remember the third one. But
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so you have these three principles, eh? And you have this number. So you unite indefinite, finite, you receive a number, and jumping, let's say, starting from the number, you
Mm-hmm.
shape the reality. And then you have like Matrix, other movies in the popular culture nowadays. This idea it travels a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because you imagine you have a number, then it means you can define a point. Yeah, let's say defining a point, you can define the line, because
Mm-hmm.
it's a multitude of, it's a set of points. Yeah. So you receive the first dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Then you take triangular, 3 points, and which are not on the same line. You
Mm-hmm.
get the plane. Yeah. So you get to the second dimension. Then you take another point, which is not in this plane, and you
Mm-hmm.
receive a third dimension, and so on. Then later on, if you look later on mathematics, it's called Euclidean spaces. So
Mm-hmm.
actually, you can have, our space of 3 dimensions is not the only space. Yeah, mathematically abstract, this space can be infinite. It can be Euclidean. It can have whatever nature number you would like to ascribe to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this you see this this progression coming from complete nothing, complete chaos, and by number, you're trying to shape the chaos. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the same as you mentioned with music. You have different sounds, you have different tones, you have different scales, and so on. But by number, you can shape it, and you can, and try to put harmony inside the
Yeah.
melody. Mhm.
And
Yeah, you
find
want to
not.
say? Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Interestingly, these numbers we can find not only in the music, but before that, yeah, I also want to add to what you were saying about uniting the polarities, let's say, finite and indefinite. We can also find this principle in the Eastern philosophy, yeah. Like for example, in Chinese philosophy, we have yin and yang, and in Hindu philosophy, we also have Shiva and Shakti, where like Shiva is the consciousness and Shakti is like infinite, the infinite reality, let's say.
Yes.
But
Exactly, because
mhm,
Shakti is it's a female energy.
right.
Everything created by from Shakti. The same you can
Mhm,
think about indefinite, because everything is created from indefinite. It's a it's a milestone of the whole
Mm-hmm.
creation. And this, as you say, Shiva, or let's say definite, this is a principle or something which gives it shape. But in the beginning there is chaos, yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
as Ovidio starts as well, that in the or any kind of cosmogony starts from the chaos, yeah. There was a
Mm-hmm.
chaos, and then later on somehow it became cosmos, yeah, order.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
It yeah, interesting, like at least also for me, what impressed me that from this chaos, um, in the nature we can find, in the creation itself we can find that many things in the nature, they follow the same ratios what we can see here. And the most interesting maybe that Pythagoras was talking about the music of the spheres, that like all cosmos functions to a certain law. And at that time maybe we don't know, but like we like to think that he was just like talking nonsense. But like interesting that later, like astronomer Kepler, he actually like proved this in his third law of planetary motion. Yeah, this is the name, if I'm not mistaken. And like some guys from, just give me a sec, I don't remember which university. I will read it. So, Willy Roof and John Rogers of Yale University programmed the angular velocities of planets into a synthesizer, and they followed the Kepler's orbital data. And so it's not like the sound which the planets emit, but it's their angular velocities, and this they transport this mechanics into the audible frequencies. So I can send you also a link.
Mm.
I found this how it sounds like, and it's also interesting that like then you hear this tape. Also another interesting thing about the Kepler, which I want to mention, he was also a musician, and his the name of his book about the astronomy is named like Harmonicis Mundi Libri 5, Cinco. I don't know how it's in Latin. Harmonicis
Mhm.
Mundi Libri Cinco. The
Yeah,
five
something
books
in
about
Latin, yeah.
the five books about world harmony. So it's like the
Mhm.
name as if the it's about the piece of music and not about the astronomy. And also when you hear these tapes of Willy Roof and John Rogers, so we can hear, like, for example, that Mercury is fast and relentless, messenger of gods. Mars is restless in the sharper intervals. The Earth has its plaintive mi fa mi, and Jupiter is majestic, has a majestic sound similar to church organ, and Saturn produce deep mysterious drone. And later on, after Kepler's death, also three planets were discovered: Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. And since these planets have very low orbital velocities, so for example, like Pluto's orbit around the Sun takes 248 years, and they transpositioned the sound into the range below the hearing. Sorry. So the point is this like, because they have like very like big period of turning, they cannot like transpose it into the sound, and they discovered that these three planets, they actually could be sounded like a rhythm. So, and eventually it sounded, like whole cosmic symphony, which was Pythagoras was talking about like
Yes.
2000 years ago.
The sound
And
of spheres. Yes.
yeah, and for me, it's like really, fascinating thing.
Yes. Yes. For sure. It's like a different manifestation, yeah, of the same, yeah. Um, yeah, what can I say? Fascinating, as you say. Yeah.
Yeah, so from a point of view of mathematics, like speaking about, like I just gave you like example, from my point of view, where we can find this integers. So, do you think,
Mhm.
from your point of view, we can find them somewhere else, like
You
in
mean you're
our...
trying to put try to explain the nature by using the number, you mean, yeah? Like
Yeah.
yeah, this is actually all his theory, all his teachings, everything was based on more, not everything, but mostly of this was based on this, yeah, on a number.
Mm-hmm.
Why I think it was so important for him? Because it was, the beginning of trying to, to create a logical explanation of something, coming out from the mythological way and coming slowly to the logos, which we know nowadays, and later on Socrates and Plato put in a, in a very, and Aristoteles as well, yeah, in a very nice and shaped way. Um, yeah, clearly, for example, first of all, you see, one of the ideas they had that there are only rational numbers. Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
our viewers, they know about it. Yeah, that we have rational and irrational numbers. Yeah, and irrational number, let's say this is, for example, the square root of 2. Yeah, or let's say the one of the problems which could not be resolved by the ancients Greeks, yeah, the ancient and Romans as well, in a way, it was actually they could not understand that how it's possible, that there can be some numbers which are not so harmonical, you know
Mm-hmm.
but because for them harmony was exactly irrational, so any kind of number can be expressed as a ratio between two natural numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And when they discovered, let's say, in the square, that the diagonal cannot be measured by its sides, because yeah, I will just give it a small explanation. Rational numbers, they also mean that they are commeasurable. Yeah, it means if you take two sticks and you start measuring, you take one, let's say like this, and the smaller, so
Mm-hmm.
then you take this smaller, and then you can take this part and measure with this one, and like this, and going by this algorithm, you will finally end up with only one unit of measure. So everything's in the world are commeasurable.
Mm-hmm.
But irrational numbers, they show that this it's not true. There are some things as a diagonal of the square, it's not commeasurable. It's out of the harmony. You cannot express it by ratio or something. And this was one of the, I think, one of the disasters of the school, if you put it this way,
Mm-hmm.
because Pythagoras could not, at least what we know what we have received from the past, that the pupil who actually discovered this, he was very severely punished, because it was completely against the whole harmonical system. So you see, you also have here a small, as any, we are all humans. We tend to over perfection things. So trying to create a beautiful harmonical, universe with everything is ratio, and nice sounds. In the end, he just bumped into the something unharmonical, was boggled by it, and in the end, he could not accept it. At least what we know. This is, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it's actually, like, brings me to other thoughts that actually, our culture, like Western culture, uh, its emphasis, as you said, like really like rational aspect of the life over
Yes.
the irrational. And
Yes.
I think this is actually the biggest problem, because we uh, like as you said, we want like so much this ideal, but we cannot actually like achieve it, and like in turn we are not accepting our human
Yeah,
nature, which
yeah,
is actually irrational as well. So it's not, its point as we started is not that something like better, but that
yeah.
they are actually, equally important. That's what I'm thinking. Because like we
It's
are
a
not
good,
we are not
yeah,
robots. I mean, what I'm trying to say, we also
yeah.
have our irrational and emotional part, and so is the life, I think, maybe.
You see, the thing is, we don't know exactly if this is if these ideas, in this story, because this is it's an anecdote, yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
a funny story. We don't know if it was like that or not, but we can see some kind of tendency, maybe some kind of some monk in the medieval who was sitting in his monastery, just decided to a little bit correct everything that it is nicely goes with the doctrine, because if you look a little bit, let's say this Diagoras Laerzi, yeah, this is actually I was preparing by him. So everybody who wants to read more about Pythagoras, I invite them to go to the, to the first spring of the information, we call it this way. Yeah, Diagoras Laerzi, he wrote a nice book, the biographies of the great philosophers, and it's a lot of stories. They're short, maybe 20 pages dedicated to each philosopher. Anyway, so what he talks about Pythagoras. First of all, Pythagoras uh, has shaped his education in a very versatile manner.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to say, first of all, he studied philosophy from the Greeks, from his Greek teachers. And just give me a second. It was Pherecydes and it was he, Hermodamant. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm spelling them wrong, but I'm sorry. So you have this Greek, Greek heritage, which is quite rational.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, he traveled to Egypt, and in Egypt, he was also, initiated in their mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
His teacher was as Amazis, and uh, we don't know, it's only like a one sentence there, but we do
Mm-hmm.
know that this is, that Egypt at this point of in this point of history was the cradle of the whole culture. Greeks were only they only just started flourishing,
Mm-hmm.
and but Egypt was already 2000 or more years there, their culture. And
Mm-hmm.
if you take, for example, Plato, yeah, and Solon, Solon, the great governor of Athens, before
Mm-hmm.
creating his famous laws, he went to Egypt to the priests to get their advice and so on. And from there we get the first mention uh, of the legend of the Atlantid. They
Mm-hmm.
tell him the story, and they also tell him that you Greeks are very young, you forget everything. Your culture is not the first, So it's a lot of playing. The ball is always, you can find the same topics arising from different,
Mm-hmm.
sources. But anyway, so he finished this one. Yeah, he finished. He had the Greek philosophy. He had also the Egyptian, let's say, educational education. And then later on, he also visited Crete. Yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
there he went to the also to the cavern, to the cave of. It's called the cave of Ida. In this
Mm-hmm.
cave, Zeus was born. And there was also another cult, completely, we don't know so much about it, almost nothing. But we do know that in the end, Diagoras Laerzi, he underlines that Pythagoras has initiated himself in all kinds of mysteries which were available to him at that point of time.
Mm-hmm.
So we see that this guy was not so logical let's say in the, in the way that they try to show us, let's say, as we showed in this story, that he could not accept it, that everything is harmony and so on. I think he was quite, at least I have a feeling that this story has something more to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, when he finished all his studies, he has not stayed in the in Greece. He goes to Italy and establishes himself in Crotona and opens their school. And most interesting, another thing that he creates, first thing he creates for Cortona, he creates the laws for them.
Mm-hmm.
And his pupils and himself, because his pupils actually were the most, noble families, which actually, entered in first to his school. It was like 300 of them. It were 300 of them. And they created like a government, of the aristocracy, of the, like the government which Plato was, dreaming of, the government
Mm-hmm.
of philosophers. And some of the sources say that later on, all these governors, they spread it along the Italy and Greece as well, and they had like, now we have all this, this conspiracy theories. That's
Mm-hmm.
because it is true. There is an idea of this, that this I will come to later on, that that the school was destroyed. We will talk about it later. But after the school was destroyed, that actually. The idea of Pythagoras lived, let's say, in the idea of Plato, and this school was actually part of of this let's say conspiracy philosophers who rule the world, and
Mm-hmm.
in a way, because Plato later on, as we know, he was trying to build his own best society and best government in Italy as well, by
Mm-hmm.
the by this using the not using but trying to educate the Dionysi, the tyrant of Syracuse. Anyway, imagine this school was also destroyed of these Greeks. Later on, they say again that the Templars is the continuation of the Pythagoras ideas, which was also later on destroyed. But the moment
Mm-hmm.
they were destroyed, they sailed to America, and so people try to, to win this threat from the history, from the past up to nowadays, and say that the school still lives. We just don't see it, they are not on YouTube. Let's go this way, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, from my perspective about mystery, what I can add about Pythagoras. So, Iamblichus, I don't know also if I pronounce it correctly, Iamblichus, a Neoplatonist philosopher from the 4th century, in his work called Life of Pythagoras, mentions that in this school, what you have mentioned, music was used as a form of healing and purification. So his followers played certain modes to at certain times of the day, and to cure, like disorder of the souls. But
Mhm.
the same thing we actually can find in the Indian culture, which is like much older than our, that certain ragas, which are like the same as raga, it's like same as the scale, so they play it also in a certain time of the day or night as well. And at the end, this concept goes to more, ancient
amigo. No. I no, I'm talking here.
Uh, my laptop switched off.
No problem.
So I think it says the battery does not charging, but it's charging. So I think he also doesn't want that we will spread these ideas.
Maybe, yeah.
But-
Who knows?
so
You can film it at here. You can film it also here or not? You cannot.
I am recording it into cloud. This is a good thing. So it's going to be
Okay.
recorded.
So it's
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's why I switched off. So what I wanted to say, like these ideas, we can trace to more ancient, culture of shamanism, where like the concept of sound as healing exists everywhere around the earth. And yeah, it's also interesting that you mentioned like Atlantis, because we tend to think like that our like civilization is the only one, but there were many before us.
well, we don't know, but there are some, some like how you call it, wings, from the past in the
Mm-hmm.
dialogue everywhere. You can, like on the Mahabharata, if you take India as well, in there that it's that some of this, for example, this nuclear, mushroom, which when the bomb is blown, is also described very nicely in the, in this marvelous, piece of art. So. Yeah, we don't know, but we can assume that something is brewing there. Yeah. So another thing which is really interesting to talk about, if you try to delve a little bit more in his personality, is his idea of the reincarnation. Yeah, I think this idea is also quite close, to you as well. I know, and the legend says like this that. There was a certain ancient Greek, let's call him this way, Etalides,
Mm-hmm.
Etalides, and he was the son of Hermes. And as we
Mm-hmm.
know from the Greek mythology, Hermes, he's one of the gods who actually accompanies the soul to the infra world.
Mm-hmm.
And Hermes actually told him, "Okay, you're my son. Let's, you can ask for me something. I can help you, but do not ask immortality. The only
Mm-hmm.
thing which I cannot grant you." And the guy said, him, the young guy just said, "Okay, I would like to remember all my past lives."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Okay, granted, you have it." So Pythagoras, later on, he claimed that he is this one Italides, that he has been reincarnated many times, and not only in humans, but also in plants, also in animals, and
Mm-hmm.
from also he has passed a lot of time in the, it's not hell, yeah, but it's like this world of shades, as Homer
Mm-hmm.
described, in the Odyssey. Yeah, that this world is full of shapes, and it's better to be a shepherd in the real world, ours, than to be a king in the world of shades. I know, but one thing which is also actually amused me a lot, that in this legend he says that he saw Homer, and he saw also videos in the not videos, I'm sorry, Homer and Hezoid, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's call it hell, or in the in the other world, and they were tortured there. And tortured, why? Because they talked quite in quite arrogant manner about the gods. If yeah, so also there is some kind of moral. So you have to respect, let's say, the suprapower or something.
Mm-hmm.
um and I think it had a huge influence on his philosophy later on, because you see that this philosophy is very humanistic, very much humanistic, his teachings, because first of all, uh, not only you are not allowed, not only allowed, but let's say you are, you know, they try um, to shape your personality in a way that you are not only kind, let's say, to your fellow human beings, but also to plants, to animals. They say that he was vegetarian, so he was very, let's say, 21st century, guy, and
Mm-hmm.
eco-friendly and so on. Um, and it also brings a lot of responsibility, I think, yeah, because one of his ideas was that you should not try to, let's say, make a lot of friends, but you also should try to convert your enemies to your friends. So I think
Mm-hmm.
this is one of the ideas, which later on was shaped by Jesus, that give your right cheek if you're the left one was already, you were, punched in the left one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we see that although we are still touching the threshold of only, the civilization only starts growing, and we think that humanism is some kind of, if it's some kind of pinnacle, yeah, of our civilization, but it was there lying, but in the beginning of the story.
Yeah, I think actually, like our civilization is like only gradually, like starting to waken up because many concepts that we are like discovered like in the nearest, like let's say 100 years, like psychology or whatever, we can find in other cultures which existed 2000 years ago, and
Yes.
usually if we dig there, like they describe like concepts more sophisticated that when we like have right now.
Yes. Yes. And you actually mentioned a very nice thing about this, the female energy. And I think it's quite curious fact that they say that Pythagoras as well took a lot of from the for one woman, from the priestess of the of this Delphus oracle. You had
Mm-hmm.
Delphus, and you had there, the oracle of Delphus, and you had this all the great, not all, almost all of them went to consult there. Yeah, let's
Mm-hmm.
say Caesar, before crossing, before deciding that he should start the civil war or not, he also consulted oracle. So it's a lot of things. So he was actually he took a lot of from this woman. Her name was, at least as I wrote it, Themistoclea. It's also
Mm-hmm.
funny thing which connects him to Socrates, because Socrates had another also teacher, woman, Diotima,
Mm-hmm.
and Diotima taught him to love. And it's I would like to also mention this idea because Socrates later on in his dialogue, I think Phaedon, he says that you need not only to how you should progress in your loving journey, let's go this way. First you
Mm-hmm.
start loving, the beauty of the others, yeah, let's say his physical appearance and so on. Then you go to his soul, yeah. After
Mm-hmm.
his soul, you go to the other, to love the humans in in their collective sense. Then you go to
Mm-hmm.
the whole living creatures, loving them, and then you are actually going to love the ideas, and then later on you go to the forms itself, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And also, he later on connected these ideas of forms, this eidoses, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
as we know. He started also the idea of eidoses also starts from the idea from the Pythagorean ideas of as I said, monada, this indefinite, these numbers, and so on. But you progress in a different a little bit way, because you start, let's say, from a lot of examples from the indefinite, yeah, you have a lot of things, let's say, like experiments and so on, and then you try to find some similarities. You created
Mm-hmm.
species, so you try to categorize a little bit. Later on, when you receive more and more, you see more and more let's say, like patterns, you create a theory. Creating a theory, you creating a form, and then later on you're contemplating the form, and you are in an ecstasis, and so on. But the last thing, just I wanted to connect to the a little bit to modern philosophy a little bit more. There is, utilitarianism, the
Mm-hmm.
branch in philosophy, which was which was actually, put on a pedestal by the, John Stuart Mill, yeah, and he in the first chapter he actually mentions it's very nice, which what the idea which I have described now, that you start from the from a lot of and you go in and build a theory, but with moral, with ethics, you cannot do like that because the moment before you get to the pinnacle, to the idea what is good and what is bad, you will do a lot of atrocities in this in this life. You need to
Mm-hmm.
have a principle from the beginning which will govern you, which will rule you. And that's why the moral idea, the ethical ideas are so difficult. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot create them from the, like mathematical law, okay, because we have 3,000 examples, so we can try to, create an abstract idea. You need to have this idea from the beginning. And that's why it's so difficult to, to to get to the same, equation, let's say, to agree on something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting about agreeing. What I want to say about like these numbers, what I mentioned in the beginning, at least how I see it, is that Pythagoras wanted to tell, or at least what we can find now in the modern science. Maybe, yeah, maybe we don't know. We cannot tell what he exactly wanted to tell, but in what we can see in the modern science, that many, let's say, we can observe the same patterns what he discovered and what we can find in music. We can observe them in nature in many things, like for example structure of the eight, like in the planetary motions, in the structure of the atoms, in the, let's say, growing of the trees, the leaves in our human body. So like the point is, I think, is that like why from the all the chaos in nature, it's somehow the creation, it's chooses the from the chaos, it chooses the harmony, right? So because we can observe it in the many things. And yeah, just this is
Yeah, you
the
have to, yeah. Harmony in cosmos, you see, even in Greek philosophy, you always have this battle between chaos and order. You
mm-hmm,
look at, at hierarchical, yeah, Hercules, or yeah,
mm-hmm,
uh, his 12, great deeds, yeah. He was fighting chaos because all these creatures, they're things which were left from the chaos.
mm-hmm,
Titans, they're also chaotical. So they were, trying to make a rebellion, against the gods. So
mm-hmm,
this is what also we have inherited as a culture, as even again, as I say, Ukraine at least has this privilege to have this small connection with the Greek,
mm-hmm,
culture, because Olvia, Odessa's, one of the one of the biggest colonies on the on the Black Sea, Olvia, which was like 30 kilometers from Odessa, and
mm-hmm,
so we can say that we have this connection
mm-hmm,
by the land, So so yes, exactly. We have inherited this as well, this fear to the cows.
mm-hmm,
Although other idea, mm, other mysteries, other religions, like Tao, for example, yeah, uh, they try to negotiate, I would say, with it, try to, because negating, trying to refuse something straight away creates, it's a straight away to neurosis, and
yeah. And I
yeah,
think, yeah, it's what we have, it's neurosis
exactly,
in
yes,
our culture. Yeah.
yeah, collective neurosis, yes. That's true. That's why so much aggression. That's why it's there is no way. People. It's difficult. We can see now in the in politics as well. People do not negotiate anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It was a period of some negotiating. Now this again, this is like Kaliluga, how you call it? You know better this name, yeah?
Yeah.
It starts this, this pendulum goes back to because people do know this is a force and so on. Mm, yeah, this is what we see. This is what we are living. Then maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like I don't know for sure, but it's like only what I'm feeling. Like it's some transitional period. I don't know where we are going and where we are coming, but yeah, it feels like this. Because I mean, like many good things are like happening at the same time, and as you said, like equally, it's like intensifying, right? We see a lot of like wars, conflicts, but so both, like intensity is increasing. I would say like this, of everything, maybe.
Well, we are also more informed now. The thing is, we are just more informed because just a second. We are more informed before, let's say, there was a fall of Roman Empire. Yeah, the Roman Empire is everything. Let's go. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
whole Europe there, Mediterranean, everything. People didn't know so much. They didn't know that the Roman Empire has fallen. They didn't have, this, iPad to tell them about this. They only saw it when the Huns came and when they were raping them. Then they know, yeah, something is happening. I mean, I'm exaggerating for sure. It's a joke, but the feeling that we have now that we are, yes, the world is more connected. Any kind of thing which we have even now we talk would have an impact,
Mm-hmm.
on the others. And yes, and this is brings benefits, and also it brings a lot of disadvantages because yeah, it's difficult when you don't, people. It's a nice thing. I forgot who actually said it. People want to change the world, but nobody wants to change himself.
Yeah.
And, yeah, everybody is talking. Yeah, we are going to change, and this
Yeah.
is
In
mhm.
fact, I think it's not possible to change the world without
No,
it's like by
yeah.
definition.
The world does not need to be changed. It's like Tao. I like this way which we have mentioned. It doesn't need to be changed. It needs to be contemplated, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
understood, and and to have cooperation with this.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only, if you flow against the current, you will just, tire yourself and you would drown. You
Mm-hmm.
know it. It's this is the only thing. Yeah. But another thing which I wanted to know, if we talk about, we can talk about how Pythagoras actually finished his life.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting point as well.
Okay.
That although we can say that he was very respected person in the town,
Mm-hmm.
people were attending his lections. The disciples were the governors of this province, let's call it whatever. What was the point? Pythagoras was actually, his house was he was was burned
Mm.
by what the legend says. It was burned by one of the unsuccessful student, which was not accepted to the school, because acceptance to the school was quite rigorous. Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
had to maintain 5 years of silence before you can speak. Imagine 5 years of silence. Yeah.
It's impossible in our age. I think it's
Yes.
unimaginable even.
Yeah. So you had to only to
We
listen.
have, what we
Yeah.
have. We have now like silent retreats, like 7 days,
Yeah.
21 day maximum. What we
Yeah.
have,
Yeah.
and it's already for us. It even this it is like impossible. No, not impossible, but very hard, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you can think about this. So they say that this student, which was not accepted to the school, he burned the school, and or they say that the citizens of the Crotona, this city where he was living, uh, they have seen actually in him, a kind of threat to their democracy or whatever. Maybe for sure there were other people who were not accepted, to his. So they tried to get back the power. At least this is my point of view. Anyway, so his house was burned, but fortunately he was not. So he escaped with
Mm-hmm.
with some of his students. And then later on, something happens. The story doesn't tell what exactly. He remained himself. He just ended up by himself near the field of beans. And because of his philosophy, he cannot pass on the beans because he will kill these beans. Yeah, this is other souls. So he was just he just stayed there. So these guys caught him up, and he and just cut his throat. Of course, it's a funny story, yeah, and it tells a lot of the guy is stupid. It's the same like the Socrates again in one of the dialogues. It tells about himself that this one of the women says to Socrates, "Yeah, you're going and looking about to the stars, about your forms and so on, and then you just fall into the to some kind of pit and die there,
Mhm.
because you're looking too much." Of course, it's an anecdote, but there is something also behind it, yeah. So what we can say if we try to draw the parallels, again, a lot of connections with Socrates, because Socrates was also killed, also by the
Mhm.
citizens, which were not so happy with his transformations of the society. Yeah, for sure he had a lot of impact. For sure you know. It promoted a lot of envy among the
Mhm.
citizens. Yeah, and for sure it has this consequence, his death. So mm, I would say that you have to be very careful what you say, to whom you say, and how you say it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
uh,
for sure.
yeah,
The words they have, like now, I really understand. Like our words, they really have impact, as you said, and you have to be careful with them for sure.
yes,
And also,
yes,
you have to have right words at your disposal. That's also
exactly.
important.
Yes. Not only this, if you take Aristotle, for example, he says how he defines our species. He defines us as a animal who speaks. Yeah, but we
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of bees, who are also speaking. You have, dogs and others, animals which speak. But he specifies there that humans speak about justice.
Mm-hmm.
This is this is what makes them different. Dogs don't speak about justice so much, or virtue or other, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our and words uh, they in the beginning was the word, as I say, it says in Bible. Yeah, it was logos in the beginning. So yeah, it's a lot of interesting things which you can draw parallels. You can try to, I think we have done quite a nice
Great.
conversation here. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
because we have thrown a lot of different topics on the table, which
Mm-hmm.
can be one thing which I wanted also to mention. This is actually uh, my personal idea. Um, just to come to it, Pythagoras also talked. He also one of his teachings was, of course, treat others good. Be moderate. Be try to cultivate arts. And
Mm-hmm.
so on, like normal any kind of uh, institutional teaching at that time. But he also mentioned another thing, that you should prepare yourself, to let's say to frugality. His way of eat, this diet, vegetarian diet, was not only as a point to okay, this is maybe I would eat my friend in the other life and so on, but he also tried to put it as a pre- preparation
Mm-hmm.
of the soul and body. And
Mm-hmm.
this comes, to the Stoic idea, to the Stoicism later on as well. Yeah, that uh, you can see, of course, Stoicism. He took a lot of Plato, Pythagoras, and so on. But you can
Mm-hmm.
see how it was actually trying to encompassing these ideas. But imagine if you try to connect mathematics and the Stoic idea, the main Stoic ideas which you have in this Enchiridion, this the manual of Epictetus. yeah, where he says about the main Stoic pillars. Um, there are things which under our control in which are not under our control, yeah, and then he gives a list for you. Imagine this, connecting this idea with these rational numbers and so on. How in more than one of the way to define irrational number is the number which is between the two rational sets. So you have rational numbers, but they do not fill up all the space. There are spaces in between, and we fill up the spaces with the irrational number. It's called Dedekind cut. So imagine you have you divide the whole set, this abstract world of rational numbers into two sets. One set is A and Y, let's say, is B. Yeah. And you say that irrational number is such a number that is in between these two sets. I mean, if of course there are a little bit more behind it, yeah. But if we are just trying to simply imagine it and think about the idea of Epictetus, that a human person, your personality, your own soul, and everything is in between two sets. The things is between you, which are under your control and not under your control. And exactly in between, this is where you are. This is where you're.
It's actually what makes me think about unconscious, what was again discovered in our culture only 100 years ago by Jung, but and the concept existed in other cultures like well before. And so, and again, as we can find again in our psychology and in like Eastern world, that we like think of ourselves as rational and conscious, let's say, creatures, but in reality, our like unconscious actually it's like what defines our like life. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's only, this consciousness what we have, all these passions, I think it has a purpose for sure. This, the past we have, the world is not bad, it's not good, it's something, it's just, as you say, on transition. Of course, it's transition, and even when you say, when we say that it is in transition, we implicitly, I think, at least I have a feeling that implicitly you think that, okay, there is something before and something in front of us, and then we are going to something better, and hopefully this will pass, and then all these idiots will die, and then something will, start. No, it wouldn't be like that. Yeah, we were, we are very lucky to be, witnesses of this nice feast we are watching around us, and this is thank you very much, God, nature, and everything that we have this, we have this privilege to be participant of this, of this. But in the end, no, come on, everything goes by its way. You have only feeling to to contemplate, to reflect on it, of course, because it's very important. I think it's one of our things which we have as a human being. We have to bring more consciousness, let's say, but consciousness not in this way as exactly as you said, of enlightening the unconsciousness, yeah. To bring it more on surface. This is every moment which you become more conscious of your fears, of something which you have done wrong, and so on, or trying to promote it in a way. You have done something good, you're still bringing this world, you're mixing the water and trying to bring something, on top there. And this is it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, in many yogic texts, it's also said that it's a great privilege to have a human body. So maybe it's not necessary the happiness, but it is a privilege. What it is said.
Of course. We think that body belongs to us, but we don't control it almost. It control. Yeah. It just the only thing it just wants, okay, just take care of me, don't poison me too much, and I will try to function, as I was programmed to. Yeah. But actually, one of the things also that not what Pythagoras said, that nothing belongs to us.
Mm-hmm.
Never think that something belongs to you. It's impossible. You yeah, everything was lended to you, given for some time. It's the same as family, the same as your parents, your wife, your girlfriend, your kids. Again, I'm coming more to this, on the dark side of stoicism and so on. But if you treat it like this, it's easier to let go.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. If you grapple to it, if you try to, to yeah, to stay with it, whatever deft movements, whatever ingenious things you would try to create, theories or whatever, you would fail, I think. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
later on. Yeah.
I think I think we had a beautiful discussion. I don't know
Yeah.
how many time, but
Yeah, thank
and
you very much. Yeah.
I hope it is recorded. At least it says rec here, and yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. I hope we continue someday. Yes.
Yeah, we need to think of another topic, and we can do it one more time for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Right. Yeah. Wish you a good day. Yeah. Yeah. A good night for you. Good day for me because we have
Yeah.
almost 12 hours difference between us.
So you
Yeah.
have a day or
I have now 4 o'clock in the morning. 4:30. 4:30. Yes.
so we will also go to sleep.
No, I will stay 8 hours more on watch. Yeah. I start from midnight until, yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting, from Las Palmas what is your city now? What is called in Canada?
It is Vancouver Island.
Vancouver Island. Yes, Las Palmas Island to Vancouver Island. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So it's like that.
Okay. It was good to see you, brother.
Yeah,
And
brother. Take care.